Hello and welcome to Creativity with Don Allen III Live. Thanks for joining today. Today we're going to be working on making some wearable AR fashion, some wearable AR costumes. This is a character from the show Squid Game, and we're going to be showing you the process that I would go through to make this a wearable AR filter, something that a full body tracking wearable AR filter. We have some reference images here of some close-ups. These are some characters. I'm not going to spoil anything in the show to the best of my abilities, but we will be showing how to go through making this. We'll be going through a few programs. The first one we'll be using is a program called Cinema 4D. We'll be using that to create a lot of the geometry that's going to be required for this. Then after we've done that part, we'll go into a program called Adobe Substance 3D Painter. We'll be using that to paint the colors and the materials onto this outfit. And then finally we'll end in a program called Lens Studio, where we will be taking all of this and making it a wearable AR fashion. I anticipate it to be maybe 3 hours long, so if you want to skip ahead if you're watching this on YouTube right now, you can skip to the end and see if you like the end result. If you do, stick around, you'll learn every step that's required to make that happen. We are live streaming simultaneously to Instagram as well as to YouTube. And yeah, just finished watching the show Squid Game. It's really, really good. I encourage you to watch it. And then, because it's still relevant in pop culture, I decided let's make a wearable AR fashion out of it. And then that'll be something fun for people to use to communicate and talk about this culture of this movie culture, this TV show culture. So let's get started. I'm going to open up a program that I call Cinema 4D. But the process that I'm showing you right now, to make it more accessible, I want to just remind you that you don't have to use a paid program like Cinema 4D to do this first step. You could use a free program like Blender to achieve what we're going to be doing right now, which is basically we're going to do some 3D modeling of the helmet geometry. And that is, I'm using Cinema 4D because that's where I'm comfortable, but it is not a requirement for you to do this kind of stuff. Just wanted to say that. So you can use Blender. It's a free program. They would just have different terms for the stuff that I'm doing, but it's very similar. All right, so the first step I want to talk about is, since I'm designing this for Lens Studio, that's the AR product from Snapchat, I want to show you that they actually have a 3D body mesh that you can download. Lens Studio 3D body mesh template. So I go to Lens Studio, and if you go to lensstudio.snapchat.com, they have some sweet templates for you to start off from. So this is actually going to save us a lot of effort and time. So if you go into their documentation and look for the body mesh and go to the bottom, they actually have the body mesh template and the external mesh, or a zip file that has all of the 3D models that are required for body mesh objects. This is super important because this just saves you time and it's going to work better. So I'm going to go ahead and click here to download it. And this is going to open up a zip file on your computer. And then I'm going to save this onto a different screen for privacy reasons. But I'm just looking for a spot to unzip the file so that we have some tools to work with. So I'm going to open up my Squid Game folder. I'm going to drag my zip file into the Squid Game folder. And then I'll show you what I have on screen. And then I'm going to right click to extract the files here. And it's going to open up this folder, and this is from Snapchat. It comes with a body mesh UV. This is what we'll need to paint the body of the character really easily, which is super helpful that it already comes with that. It also comes with the body mesh in a T-pose. A T-pose is really nice because it allows for very friendly deformations when your arms of your character are bending and stuff. And we also have a body mesh template A, which is the A pose. This one's better if you want to have less problems with the fashion being tried on, except it is kind of harder to fit this onto other rigs in the 3D world, but it's easier for fashion. So for my own sake, I'm going to go ahead and drag the body mesh T-pose FBX file into Cinema 4D, and we'll hit OK. All right, so here we are. We have our template inside of Cinema 4D, and the first thing we want to do is I want to make the helmet. So I'm going to zoom into the head here, and I'm going to display my lines so I can kind of see what's going on here. And Yeah, so for the helmet, I'm going to start off with a couple of simple primitive shapes. First one I'm thinking of is starting off with either a capsule or starting off from a cube. I'm probably going to do a cube. Now it might seem a little counterintuitive to start sculpting a round head shape with a cube, but the reason why I do this is it has to do with the fact that I'm going to be painting this later. There's a type of modeling, a type of 3D modeling known as subdivision modeling. It's also called sub-D modeling. And subdivision modeling allows you to start off with very primitive shapes, and then when you want to curve them, you add a subdivision surface object, which subdivides all of the polygons. So if I subdivide a cube, you're going to get this rounded shape. And the number of subdivisions is going to be the roundness. So this is one level of subdivision. So it took every side, and you see it subdivided it to make two sides out of each one side. And this is a technique I like to use when I want a lot of granular control over how something's looking. So with subdivision surface turned on, I'm going to continue to sculpt. I'm going to add some loops to our cube shape. I'm going to make the cube editable. And I'm going to temporarily hide that, and I'm going to grab my cube shape and make it editable. And then I'm going to add some loop cuts to it. So by adding a loop cut, we can actually sharpen the transition between edges. So just adding a couple of loop cuts, and we can also increase our subdivisions if you want to see it more smooth. All right, so I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to go ahead and grab a loop selection, grab our lines, and then I'm going to make it a little bit wider here, maybe a little bit longer in the front. I'm kind of just working on the top half of the cube at the moment, and then I'll work on the bottom half. So I'm going to get rid of those parts. And then I'm going to try my best to fit this to the head shape that comes in that body template that I downloaded from Snapchat's website. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put a link in the description to where you can download this template so that you can start making fashion faster and have less technical hurdles. All right, so next what I'm doing is I'm looking at the head shape, and I just kind of want to create a little lip around the bottom half of this here thing. So I'm just going to extrude out the outer edges a bit. And that creates a little bit of a lip around the front of the model. And I use an extrusion method to do that extra little lip right there. And to make the lip a little bit sharper transition, we can do this thing called adding edge loops. When you add an edge loop in subdivision modeling, it sharpens the transition between edges and just between any type of geometry. So just by adding edge loop, I can flatten that out. And because it's subdivisions, we can actually increase the subdivisions if we want it to be smoother, which is really nice. Or we can decrease the subdivisions if you want to see what we truly have modeled. What we've modeled right now is very bizarre compared to what it looks like when it's subdivided, right? It's very different. So I'm just kind of showing you those differences. All right, I'm going to grab all of the cube and just kind of shape it a little bit more closely to the head, and then we'll grab our subdivisions and smooth it out. And then the thing to think about is when I'm modeling this filter, I'm almost going to be exclusively keeping it on the face, so we don't actually need to have geometry past the front of the face. I don't plan on having the hood down of the characters in the jumpsuit, so I'm going to add an edge loop around the back of the head here, and then grab all the back of the face and get rid of all that geometry. The reason why we want to do this when you're designing AR fashion is because file sizes really matter, and if you have room to make your file size smaller, you should always take that option when designing for real-time fashion. Okay, I'm just going to be doing some little shaping here around the head, make it a little bit wider there, maybe take the top half, make it a tiny bit taller. Trying to hit the proportions that I'm noticing in our reference image. If you're wondering what tool I'm using to get my reference footage to stay on top, oh hey Kim, welcome. If you're here on YouTube, thanks for joining us on YouTube. If you have questions, I'll be answering them from both Instagram and the YouTube stream. We are showing you how to make wearable AR fashion off of trendy things like Squid Game. And right now we're in the modeling process of the fashion creation part. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. This is the time and the space for that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and shorten this little distance here so it's a little bit flatter. And then what we'll do next is try to get those proportions right. So the top of the head is kind of like this top little cap piece, which I like. And that seems to work for me. I'm going to make it a little bit wider in the bottom by just grabbing the bottom edges here and just kind of pushing it out. There we go. And that kind of covers the averaged head space. Now I'm deciding to make it a little bit taller, a little bit more narrow. And now I'm going to add some edge loops to the front here to flatten it out. Great. So I would say that makes up the top half really well. Now I'm going to take the shape, copy it, paste it, and take that same object and just rotate it 180 degrees. And then we can place this underneath. And then we're going to shape this one to fit more like a chin shape. So you can grab the bottom face here and then just squeeze it together. And now we get that chin shape really cheaply. And then we don't need the extra lips on the top. So I'm going to grab the extra lip fold here and just get rid of that extra geometry since we don't really need it there. I'm seeing a little bit of some edge breaking, so I'm going to make sure that we can get in there nicely. Maybe I'll go ahead and cut that out. Control Z. Okay, let's try that again. All right, let's grab the bottom. And then I'll take the top loop and just stretch it up. You can also turn off subdivisions at any time if you're having little errors like I was having right there. So just taking off the subdivisions allows us to see that boxy shape again. Hey, what's up, Macaroon? Welcome. Oh yeah, definitely gonna be joining in that Squid Game. Looks like a lot of fun and a lot of tragedy. Yeah, I just try to make filters quickly when I feel like they're relevant to people. And I feel like right now Squid Game is very relevant to people. I see it being used to talk about a lot of things. And I think that could be a really fun way of giving people a talking point in culture. When you give people some kind of way of augmenting or adding to their discussions that they're having already about the game. Just some thoughts. All right, I'm gonna undo that division right there, and let's go ahead and get the chin might be a little bit wider, and it looks like the mask in general is pushed more forward. So I'm gonna grab both of the mask's elements and push them forward. That way they kind of cover more people's faces. If I don't have them pushed forward enough, that means when people try this on with the AR filter, their nose might pass through the front of it, and that may not be the goal that I want. Okay, I think I'm going to make it a little bit thinner on the bottom jaw part. So we're going to grab the bottom here, and I'm going to turn on solo mode so that we're only seeing the bottom now. And we can go into our cube shape, grab our edges, grab the outer edges, and then I'm going to grab my rotate. I'm just going to rotate this and then push it forward. That way we prevent too much of the neck occluding through the bottom of the mask. So I can just kind of do that, maybe push it up a little bit. Now it kind of like cups around the face a little bit more easily. And it still keeps it nice and shut on the top half, which is good. All right, next we're going to add a little bit of a lip to these masks. It looks like there's a little bit of a beveled edge on the bottom there that you might be able to see. So to do this, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to extrude we're going to extrude the faces. Actually, I'm going to add a loop cut first. And then with that loop cut, then I'm going to grab the faces that were in there. And grab the faces with a loop cut, loop selection, and then we'll go to rounding, and then I'll just extrude those faces out. There we go. And just like that, we created a little bit of a lip around the edges, and I'm going to widen the lip a little bit. So it just gives another surface for light to bounce off of, which I think will be really nice to add to the thing. All right, well, now I'm going to grab the corners of the head here, and with them grabbed, I'm going to shrink them into the face. We have another method of selection called soft selection, which strives to create a very gradual selection. Instead of such a hard selection, it grabs a percentage of the polygons in an area. And we can use this, you can use a soft selection to smoothly bend a bunch of complicated geometry into a much easier area to manage. This works for all parts of the face as well. It's just using a softer selection to make our shapes. Okay, cool. All right, so I would say the geometry, let me turn off the display. I'd say the geometry now matches pretty well with what we would need for it to look good in AR. So that part's easily done. The next part we want to work on for Squid Game is making the bodysuit. So I'm going to kind of make this really simple on ourselves and not have to reinvent the wheel. But things to look at on the bodysuit is that we definitely need a hoodie. So I'm going to sculpt a hood, and we could run it through Marvelous Designer to do the cloth simulation, but that might take a lot more time than I really want to put into this. So let me brainstorm real quick what the best approach is for the suit. We definitely need a hood. So I'll definitely model that out. Yeah, I'll just model that out now. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, save project, save what we're working on, Squid Game. I'm going to call this body mesh, or we'll call this modeling, because that's what we're doing right now. We're 3D modeling the body. Okay, so let's make the hoodie. So I'm going to grab the body geometry here and use my line selecting tool to highlight a line around the top of the seam here. Essentially, this is where I'm going to grow the hoodie from here. Yeah, so I'm just double checking that this is going to work. All right, we're going to go ahead and extend this out. Oops. MT is bevel. MS is to extrude. I forgot. I'm forgetting which one it was. ME. I think that's extrude. I don't know why I'm blanking on this. I don't see the extrusion tool at the moment. Oh, because we have soft selection turned on. Let me turn off soft selection. There we go. All right, so now we're going to make the hoodie. So we're going to start off right around there. I might make it a little bit wider going out, a little bit more depth. Then let's grow that hoodie up. Make it a little bit wider here. And then bring that forward. Boom, boom, boom. Then we're going to rotate that part forward and slide that into place. And we'll grow that part of the hoodie forward as well. And then we'll snap that together. Cool. I think we have enough geometry to make the hood now. Hey, what's up, NFT Talks? Today we're working on making the uniform from Squid Game. These guys. Right now we're on the hoodie the hoodie part of it, the hoodie R&D. Developing that hoodie and making sure that the mask is nicely nestled into that area. That's what we're working on. And it's going to be a full body suit that you can wear in augmented reality. And my hope is that, you know, people use it as a way of talking about the show and becomes like a tool for talking about this trend. Oh yeah, exactly, Dash. Let me hide the face mask for a second. So I'm going to click on solo, and then we're just doing this so that we can grab all of that geometry in here and out here. All right, so it's grabbing all that geometry. Let's bring back our mask, and then we can now do some cool stuff with that. So we can widen it, we can pull it forward. I'm going to leave these two out, and then I'm going to flatten this if I can. Okay, can't really flatten it. All right, then another option would be we go into sculpting and then go to our smoothing, drawing and smoothing tool. Uh-oh, I think I just crashed it. I don't know why that just crashed. I don't know what just happened. I think there's a certain tool set that's a bug. What app do you use for image references on top of all windows? Oh, great question. This app is called PureRef. P-U-R-E-R-E-F. Okay, I think we just crashed Cinema 4D, which is hilarious. So I'm going to go ahead and close Cinema 4D now. Thank goodness we saved recently. Otherwise, we would have lost all of this. So I'm just going to end that and then relaunch Cinema 4D. And this totally happens. It's part of the creation process. You're going to lose your work every day. Okay, let's see if we can get back to any of it. Open recent. No way. Do we lose all of that? That would be pretty unfortunate. I thought we saved though. I thought we saved actually pretty recently. Let me keep looking. Going through the folders. That is hilarious if we lost all of that. Oh, thank goodness, we got back to it. So basically it crashed right before we got to the hoodie part. I think what crashed it is I have this program running that I hate. It's called NVIDIA GeForce. It eats up memory. I'm just gonna turn that off. NVIDIA, it's good if you're doing video games and stuff, but if you're not doing video games, I don't think you should have it running in the background because it screws up with your graphics card. Where are ya? Let's get rid of that NVIDIA thing. Eating up my memory. Be gone. NVIDIA Omniverse, that's fine. Virtual camera, that's fine. Container, podcast. All right, well, if it crashes again, I'll have to find it. But anywho, let's make the hoodie. So yeah, we lost it, everything from the hoodie part, but no problem. I'm gonna grab a loop selection around the top of the neck here, and then we'll extrude upwards. And making sure that we're not in soft selection, because soft selection does not allow extrusions. Great, and then now that we have that, we can extrude up a little bit for that first part of the hoodie. And then, yeah, so we get a nice little collar. Don, you are too calm. Oh, I don't know what that means. Life is good. So I don't need to be stressing about things crashing. It's just like, it's totally fine. You know? It's not gonna ruin my day. I can walk around, I can talk, I can use my arms to do stuff. I can hear. okay. It's a good day. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and extrude the first part of the hoodie there. And we'll widen it this time so it's a little bit easier to get to when we're sculpting it. And I'm gonna extend that up and give that a slight rotation. 45 degrees, bring that forward. And then we'll extrude it one more time. And we'll just flatten those things. And then we'll save our work. All right, so it looks like nothing like the hoodie that we want yet, but when you're sculpting, it's good to overshoot your geometry like this so that it's just easier to sculpt later. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on symmetry. And cool, symmetry is enabled. For symmetry linkage, is it on? Yeah, it is, okay. So now we can just pull on that geometry to make it fit the right shape of the hoodie. And if we hold shift and tap, we can smooth out transitions. I'm going to switch it to point edit mode, which tries to grab just the points instead of edges. It can sometimes help you be a little bit more precise with your selections. Whoa, what happened over there? Looks like one point included through the side of the head here. Let's go ahead and solo out the seam. I don't know what edge is responsible for the break there. Let's turn off symmetry. Seems to be the issue. Sometimes when you have like really low resolution models and you're sculpting details onto them, you'll find that if you have symmetry turned on, it might accidentally grab multiple points on one side and then not grab the corresponding points on the other side. So, you know, I usually try to use symmetry sculpting as much as I can, but it usually does have its limits when it's very low resolution like this. Because I haven't added more subdivisions yet, so it doesn't know that it shouldn't break in certain spots. Speaking of which, I'm going to add a little bit more resolution here. When I say adding resolution, that means you're adding more subdivisions. Think of it as when you are adding a resolution to a monitor, they're fitting more pixels usually into the same size, the same rectangle or same screen. So when we say we're adding resolution in the 3D world, we're usually talking about adding more subdivisions into the same region of space. It's like the same. All right, now I'm using the smoothing tool to just gently, very gently smooth out some of these vertices. Smoothing is helpful in situations like this because I want to try to keep the spacing between these polygons relatively similar. And so by going through and just manually moving these points around, we're able to see what areas are going to get stretched too much and create some lower resolution, details, and then what areas are not going to be are stretched too much and are going to be sacrificing resolution. But it is a good rule of thumb to try to space out your polygons evenly, or as evenly as you can, because it does make things a little bit easier when you're in the texturing process, and for that matter the animation process is more forgiving if you have smoother topology between your polygons. And yeah, so it's just something to consider. All right, so for those of you, oh wow, we're streaming live to YouTube and to Instagram. We got some folks on YouTube saying hello. Hello, Rama says, did your Doc Ock arms error, were they ever resolved? Great question. I postponed the Doc Ock arms because it was taking longer to solve the problem that I was trying to do, and a few other projects have come up since then, and I felt like I think the problem will be solvable. Like we will be able to fix it. It's just that I wanted to kind of put more of my time and resources towards some other projects in the meantime first, which is what we're doing today. In this case, I just finished watching the show Squid Game this week. It's awesome, and I'm making this filter because I like the show, I like the character development, among everything. Okay, cool. So I'm just kind of making a bodysuit that you see that is pretty much like a onesie. I think this will be the easiest way to model the character. And oh yeah, Ritapo cries in agony. Look for the saved file. I'm gonna save this one again. All right, so we are safe. We are super safe. All right, so this is looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna add some other little minor details. Like I'm thinking of adding a separate belt geometry because I think that will be cool. Just to create some more variation on the character and stuff. Let me see. Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna add a little belt. The belt will be really simple. We'll just create a cube. We'll just create a cube and then take that cube and make it about the width of the waist. Send it to the hip area. And then we're going to scale that cube down horizontally, or I guess vertically. And then this will become our belt. Awesome. And then we're going to go to edit, make it editable geometry. And with the editable geometry, we can now delete the top and the bottom. So we're just left with this kind of rectangular shell. And then we'll subdivide so that it's really smooth and simple. So we're going to click on subdivisions, add a subdivision to the belt. Awesome. And then let's grab that belt, raise that geometry up, widen it a bit. So what's really cool in this version of Lens Studio is if you design your outfits to fit this body mesh, it will adjust the body mesh to anybody's body size, which is really neat, because then you can focus on just making your designs as fun as you like, and you don't have to worry about it not fitting people. It's going to fit everybody. I think that's a good example of AI for good reasons, you know? Okay, so let's go. I might just grab the top and the bottom and right click and click on this thing called inner cut or inset. Let's see if they have inset. Where are you? Okay, I'll just do it manually then. I'll just do both. Let me turn off my subdivisions. I don't know what's happening. It's not letting me scale these inwards. It's bizarre. Sometimes when this happens, I just manually will add an edge loop near the top, and then I'll grab the top face loop and just scale it in a little bit. Yeah, and I'll do the same to the bottom. Sometimes that just helps to do that. Cool, so we just kind of made a little square and then we subdivide it, and now we have a little belt, a little utility belt. I'm going to add a couple more edge loops to the tops and bottoms to sharpen the edges of the belt. And then we're going to make a little buckle. Looks like a crisscrossing shape and a cylinder. Pretty friendly shapes. All right, let's go ahead and save our work again. Save project. Okay, so for the belt, I'm going to keep it really simple. Really simple. We're going to start off with a cylinder. And I'm going to bring that cylinder down a lot. Move that cylinder up and bring it forward. And bring it forward. And we'll just kind of slide that into place. Cool. That's going to be my first core shape for the belt buckle. And then we'll go to display. We want to display our lines so we can see how complicated or simple the geometry is. It actually looks pretty fine. And then for the crisscrossing shape, I'm thinking that would be just like a cube, really. Yeah, I think a cube can achieve that look. So we're gonna grab the cube, shrink it down. And then what I'll do to make it like a belt buckle is I'm going to make it a little bit wider than it is taller. And then make sure that it's kind of offset a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and grab the top there so it's a little bit above. And then we're going to grab the loop cut tool. Excuse me. And create a loop there, and create another loop right over here, and then create a loop here, and create a loop right here. It's basically like a cross hatching of some sort. And with the cross hatching, we can now take some of these sides and push them inwards. We don't really need the detail that I'm putting into this part, but since the geometry is mostly just a bodysuit, we might as well add a little bit more resolution for the belt. So there we go, we have a little belt. I think I have the belt up a little high, so I might lower the height. Oh my God, thank you so much, Chris, for buying a badge. Wow, that's so cool. Oh my God, and Crazy Cronall, you bought me a badge as well. Whoa, that's cool. Wow, that's really kind. Thank you for supporting the stream. I didn't know I could do that. I mean, like, I didn't really understand what the badges meant. I kind of forgot about them. But that's really cool. Hopefully you're learning some stuff and it's valuable to you. All right, so I just kind of moved the belt down a little bit. Maybe, I don't know where belts are. Maybe right around this line. Yeah. Cool, so I'm going to merge all of that geometry together using connect objects and delete. I'm going to call that whole bit belt. So we got the belt geometry now, we have a hoodie, we have a mask. I think that's like all we really need, and everything else comes down to texturing and painting and stuff. So that's probably going to be the next step. Let me take a look. Yeah, we need to add all the holes and stuff to the top of the mask. That will be pretty sweet. And we'll do that probably in Zbrush or something. Okay, well I think I'm ready for the next phase. So we are done with the modeling phase, and I'm just going to stand up and stretch for a moment. Oh, after solving the problem, please do come live to tell us how you troubleshoot that glitch. Oh, you got it. I'll definitely stream the Dr. Octopus. All right, so I'm just going to stretch around a little bit. Ooh. Okay. The hips moving. Okay. Let's get a little bit of motion in there. Okay. We're back. So the next thing I want to do now that we got some, we have our model, is we want to save our project. And I'm going to turn off my display lines because I want to just see the plain geometry now without the lines. So now we have our bodysuit made, and we have a belt, and we also have a face mask. A lot of our core geometry is done. But I want to maybe do a little bit more. So, got some ideas. First, I'm thinking of, actually let me just table check. Okay, so what we need to do next is start to do rigging and UV mapping. So I'm going to grab both of the subdivision faces and make sure that they're at the right subdivision level. I think subdivision level 2 is perfect for both the face mask top and bottom. So I'm going to grab those two and do connect objects and delete. And now we are left with just these single face mask geometry. Yeah, so we have a single face mask now. So I'm going to rename that layer, call that face_mask. We have a belt. We have the head shape, which we'll use as an occluding material. And we have our body low. Okay, so a lot of that stuff is done and now out of the way. The next thing we got to do is welcome Brandon, hello. It's good to see you here. Welcome, welcome. So the next thing we're going to be doing is doing some UV unwrapping. UVs are the process of flattening out geometry so that you can paint it later. It's a totally required step if you want to paint something very customizable and very fun. Excited to follow the journey of this project, man. Your last filter was fire. Thank you so much, Brandon. I really appreciate that. And what's Gucci, my man? Today we're just working on, I just finished watching Squid Game. It's an amazing show, and I feel like it's culturally relevant. So I wanted to make an AR filter so that people could wear it, use it as like a talking point in their own stuff. And right now we've finished modeling it roughly, and now we're going to start doing our UVs. So I'm going to go to our body and show you what a UV coordinate is. Now UVs might sound really weird, especially when you see these weird graphs like this, but I just found a really good example of what a UV is, and I think it will help explain it to those that are new to this kind of space, like texturing and virtual fashion. So I'll just show you Santa chocolate unwrapped. So this is probably the best way I've found yet to explain what UV unwrapping is all about. So this, if any of you have ever seen this image, I think it's the best explanation of UVs ever. So what you see right here on the left is this foil that is wrapped around a piece of chocolate. And what you see on the right is a piece of chocolate that's wrapped. So what UV unwrapping is this exact same process. If we want texture to appear on this piece of chocolate, you know, it's like a 3D piece of chocolate, well then we need to unwrap its surface and make it a flat square. And you see how like really weird shapes, like up in the top corner here, there's like a big white circle. Well, that became the top of the Santa hat. And then all of this gold on the bottom, well, that became all of the hands and the shoes. So this is probably the best way that I know of today to help visualize what UV unwrapping is. And what we need to do is essentially the same thing. So for all the stuff that we modeled and that we want to paint, we also need to describe what part of the model is what part so that we can paint it. Without the UV mapping, the Santa chocolate would be, you know, the foil wouldn't line up properly. You'd have eyeballs in the random spots. You'd have the feet on the side of the head. You'd have the cheeks by the toes. So you need to do UV unwrapping when you want to make your modeling really accurate. Oh, we got a question from Rama. Says, a Santa chocolate example was taught in my university too. Oh yay, I'm so happy your university also taught that. It's a very useful technique. So we need to do our Santa unwrapping chocolate for this. So what we need to do first is we don't want any of our Santa chocolate to overlap like this. At least if we're going to do that, we want it to be intentional. So I'm going to start off and grab my line selection tool and grab my loop selection and switch everything to grab our body low, and we gotta select our seams. So our seams have already been selected by Snapchat in this case because I downloaded it from their website. But if you don't see your seams, you're gonna want to start off by making them. So the places to put seams are based off of where geometry will perform the best to be cut. Just to reiterate, I went through the process of using a subdivision route to model the characters so that things will be really easy to unwrap. If you don't do that, it's not that it's impossible to unwrap stuff, it just makes it more time consuming, a little bit more complicated. So if you're just learning how to do UV unwrapping, I'd recommend that your modeling should be done a subdivision kind of way, where you start off with very simple primitive shapes and then you build geometry around them. Right now what I'm doing is I'm just tracing over the seams that were already placed on this model before, because I wanted to cut basically all the same spots, but the only key difference is I wanted to include the hoodie now because we added the hoodie to the body. So you see how all the seams are in really clever spots. Mostly just designs that you don't see the seams. All right, and then I'm gonna put a seam now on the top and back of the head here. That way we can unwrap the, actually I might as well just cut it all the way down the middle. All right, cool, so with all these seams in place, oh, I think I forgot some. Looks like they had one right there, I'm gonna get rid of that. All right, so with all these seams in place, I'm going to click on Unwrap. And look at that, it tries to unwrap the model. Now you see some areas like this got overlapped. That's because I did a bad job cutting that geometry there. So to try to address that, I'm going to add a loop selection and just cut this whole area out and then click Unwrap again. And what that did is it just separated the hoodie into these two pieces over here, which is pretty useful. But we still see this weird, something that's getting a little jumbled up over here. So I might undo twice, undo, 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 undo. We might need to not cut it so much. So I'm going to maybe reduce some of the cuts that we made here in the front. And maybe reduce the cut on the top there and then try to unwrap it again. Huh, no luck. Let's keep undoing until we're kind of back to where we were. I'm gonna start off this time by maybe unwrapping the head entirely separately from the body. Or at least the hoodie part. Ooh, that's really bad seams. You don't want to keep seams like that. You want to, generally speaking, you want to hide the seams when you're doing UV unwrapping so that stuff bends really nicely and doesn't break. But I see there's still some weird kind of going on up here. What to do? Whoa. Just going through, adding some seams to the seam. Bam, bam, UV unwrap. Okay, it's almost perfect. I just am trying to avoid this little weirdness. When you have, when your stuff overlaps like this causes weird problems when you're trying to paint your 3D model. So a general rule of thumb is only overlap parts that are identical to each other. And if you overlap them, they need to overlap perfectly. This kind of partial, I don't know what's happening, but it's like it really wants to preserve this one shape right here, and I'm trying not to select that, but it keeps selecting it. So what I might need to do is delete the UV model entirely and just reproject it from scratch. I'm gonna grab the whole model here, click Set UV from Projection, and then we're just gonna manually select all those cuts again. Sometimes I don't have a way of fixing a problem without just redoing the work, but it's good practice anyway. So I'm just going down to the bottom of the feet here, adding seams, putting it around the foot here, almost to the almost full bottom of the foot, leaving that open so that we have a nice spot to unwrap to. And bringing this around. Awesome. And then let's go to the sides of the arm and the back. I'm gonna maybe put a seam right here. And then work our way up to the mid back. And then place some seams down the back of the arm. Another pro tip for knowing where to place the seams on clothing for virtual fashion is to follow where seams are on physical fashion. Turns out they've already solved this. On physical fashion, they've already found out where the best places are to put seams to make sure that the fabrics don't like tear and stuff. All right, so with these seams placed here, I'm going to click on, oh, actually I want to make sure I grab the loops on the end there. So I'm just going to loop the wrists and loop the face. Excuse me. Okay. And we're going to click on Unwrap. So with all those seams placed there, we can now click Unwrap, and boom. It's looking pretty good. We still got some weird problems here, so I think I'm just going to detach the hood from itself. So I just put a cut around there, click on UV Unwrap again, and now my hood is separate geometry from the rest of the model. And I'm just going to finish that area up by adding a little bit more seams there, hitting Unwrap, basically until we see a point where it's not overlapping on itself. There we go. So now that's a really clean hood to paint, and that's a really clean rest of the body to paint. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Now you don't have to do this, but if you plan on moving around a lot, it might help to subdivide your model even further. I'll just show you what subdividing would do in this context. So right now you see how many polygons are in here. These are polygons, all these little squares. If we were to subdivide this shape at this point, we would, create a lot more polygons, but they all smooth out. So this might be a better approach if you're trying to add more resolution to your model. So you see how much smoother this is versus that versus that. Pretty big differences. And this also does directly impact your UV coordinates, and it will smooth out those as well. But sometimes it's good to do this because I see like now that the hood might be a little bit too close to the head. And then when somebody's wearing this in AR, this model has a chance of occluding kind of poorly through the mask. So seeing this, probably going to keep subdivisions turned on, and I'm also going to give us a little bit more space at the top there. So I'm going to go to my sculpting tools, I'm going to grab my edges and just manually pull this hood away from the top of the head there. And I'll do it over here as well. Think of this kind of as like digital fitting. You're just trying to fit your model. Yeah, it's like digital fitting. They do this for fashion. You're getting stuff to fit nicely. Okay, that looks pretty clean. Great. Great. All right, let's go back to our standard. I'm gonna hit save. So I would say our body is unwrapped now. We have our bodysuit. And yeah, I might just, I have to think about this, but I might add the shoes separately. Okay, so bodysuit, that one's done. Next, we're gonna go to the face mask. Let's do an unwrap for this as well. So same idea. Oh, what happened? So same idea, we go into our UV editor. Oh, let's save. I'm gonna stand for a little bit here. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is unwrap the face mask so that we have enough resolution to put all the holes into it, as well as the triangles, if we go with that shape. So I'm gonna go to the UV editor, and we have our face mask. And first thing I'm gonna do is delete the auto topology that it made. Okay. Actually, we don't really need this on the screen right now, so I'm gonna move that over there. So I'm gonna go to my face mask and click on Set UV from Projection. Awesome. And now we're gonna click on UV Unwrap. And those are really bad, those are horrible. Those are horrible UVs. So let's deselect everything. I wasn't sure if we were gonna be lucky with the selection process. So I'm gonna delete that, go to my edge selection, and just deselect everything. And then we're gonna choose UV from Projection. And now I'm going to solo out the object, so we're only seeing the mask, and I'm going to choose better spots to put the seams. The first spot I'm going to choose is going to be right underneath this lip right here. Actually, I'll do it right here where it's kind of hidden. Alright, so that's our first little seam. Doing a loop selection to loop that. And then we'll do other seams against the back and side of the face. And we do one more seam over here. I think that should be enough. So we'll click on UV Unwrap, and now we have much cleaner topology to paint on. And what I like to do is grab a polygon tool and just make sure I have the right front of the mask facing us. So for example, all of our painting work is going to mostly be on this part right here. And I can see that that part of the UV island translates quite nicely to the other one. Did you make the body model? Where can I find some to download? Yeah, so I actually did not make the body model. The body model is actually from Snapchat's own documentation. I will be putting a link to that documentation in the description of the YouTube video. If you want to save some time finding it, I will have it. I'll have it available on on the YouTube description. All right, so it looks like this part is the bottom of the face. So I'm just going to flip this UV island so that it's aligned with how I actually see it in the 3D model. So it's like the chin right there, and then this is like the front of the face here. And so now this is kind of like playing like a reverse puzzle. You're just spending time at this point fitting all the parts of your puzzle pieces together. And I'm also noticing stuff like this, like all this geometry back here we do not need because no one will be seeing this, and that's just wasted memory and wasted space. So I'm going to delete all those polygons and just kind of go through each area and make sure that it's as clean as we need it to be. So I'm going to grab all these islands, go to our UV packing algorithms, and under UV packing they have an option called preserve orientation, which I want to do, and I'll hit apply. And this kind of just maximizes the space of each of your UV islands while also preserving the resolution. Oh, whoa, it flipped it. Oh, it totally flipped it. This is I want this actually on the top. And then I want the other half, I want the other half on the bottom. Is this the right direction? Yes, that is the right direction. So I'm gonna move it all the way to the bottom there. I'm gonna grab this guy, move him all the way there. And so now if we paint anything on the face mask, it's gonna be very clean because we've maximized the space of our topology. And that is always the right thing to do when it comes to texturing, because now if we paint here, it's going to be, it's going to be exactly there on the model. And if we paint here, it's going to be exactly there because our UVs now correspond directly to the model. And this looks good as well. Great. Okay, so the face mask is done. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Lastly, we're going to go to our belt. So let's unsolo, go to our belt geometry. And I'm going to first off set a UV from projection, get rid of any other projections that were in there, and then do a UV unwrap. Not bad. I might try an auto algorithm like packed. Look at that, super clean. The reason why this came out so clean by just hitting the packed algorithm button is because we modeled this with subdivisions in mind. We started off from cylinders, cubes. Yeah, we start off with very primitive shapes. And so for an algorithm to understand that shape, it's very easy for it to unwrap and decide the shape really cleanly. So I always encourage that if you're first learning how to do UV mapping, it's always going to be friendlier if your model was based off of primitive shapes. Squares, cubes, cylinders, cones, hexagons, etc. The basics. And then as you get more advanced with your UV mapping, then I would encourage you to model stuff that's less primitive and more in organic shapes that are like complicated. But anywho, we're all done. We're all done with the unwrapping process. So next thing I want to do is, well, we have a couple options. We can either jump into painting, right? So we can jump into painting now, or we could do a bit more sculpting. What I mean by that is, as I look at the Squid Game body references, the geometry is not perfectly smooth and flat like this. In fact, it looks like a lot of the geometry kind of buckles up around the belt region and kind of fluffs up around the arm region. So what we can do now that our whole thing is pretty much done with the core modeling is we can just go through each little area and add more resolution to it. So I'm going to go ahead and subdivide this. We'll do connect objects and delete. So now that's really high resolution. And now with this higher resolution model that's all UV unwrapped, I now will go back over it with sculpting tools. You can go into Zbrush if you want to do this with like even more fidelity. But for now, I'm just going to stick with Cinema 4D. We're going to go to our sculpting context. And I'm going to keep symmetry turned off. And then we're going to go to our inflate tools. And I can just inflate parts of the suit where I think it should. So I'm going to maybe grab the grab tool or even use the draw tool. Oh crap, we just crashed it. All right, so there's a weird bug I'm noticing in the new version of Cinema 4D where if you have all of your geometry selected at the same time as clicking the draw or grab tool, it crashes Cinema 4D. That's a really bad bug. We lost some of this. I think I saved it when we finished unwrapping, so we didn't really lose much, but we definitely just crashed Cinema 4D again, and I think it's related to my NVIDIA GeForce card thing. So we're gonna go ahead and close Cinema 4D, or I guess force quit it, and then relaunch it. Luckily we saved right before we did that step, so I don't think we lost much of anything. It's just part of the game. It happens every day. Okay, let's go back to it, open recent. Cool, yeah, see, we didn't lose anything. Thank goodness we saved. Okay, so with that fixed, we're gonna go back over it and I'm just gonna add a little bit more resolution to different parts of the model. So you can actually use the grab tool at this point, and I'm gonna deselect everything and just grab my sculpting tool set, like draw brush. Oh, I crashed it again. Oh wow. So it looks like the bug is a Cinema 4D related one. You can't click on the draw tool anymore. That's bizarre. I use that often. So, no good. All right, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're going to take this geometry into ZBrush and just work off of there, since that is a master tool at sculpting. So unfortunately I got to close that again, force quit it, I mean, hitting some bugs. And I'll just go ahead and end that task and then relaunch it again. Yeah, I might need to report that bug because that's not a very friendly one. Okay, so while it's safe, let's just export this geometry out of here. So I'm gonna go to File, Export, FBX, and I'm just gonna save this to my Squid Game folder. And then I'm also going to, no, actually that's all I'm gonna do. Now we're gonna open up ZBrush. ZBrush is a super duper powerful sculpting tool. Where's ZBrush? I love ZBrush. Not that friendly to learn, but well worth it in the long run since you can sculpt anything with it. And it has the best sculpting tools, and it's kind of a one-trick pony. It only can do sculpting and modeling, but it does it better than anything else in the world. So that's the trade-off. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and import my model into here. So I'm gonna go to Tool and then click on Import. And I'm gonna click on Import again. And then I'm gonna navigate to the Squid Game folder where I have my model. Well, where is it? I don't see, oh, my bad, you can't bring in an FBX file, I forgot. Or maybe, I thought you could actually. I'll make it simpler. I'm just going to import an OBJ. So go to export an OBJ file. I'm going to title this one Zbrush Time and save that into the Squid Game folder. And then we'll jump back into Zbrush. Go to go to Tool, Import, and we're going to import our Squid Game Zbrush Time. Cool. So now we're inside of Zbrush, and we can do all sorts of cool stuff to it now. So I'm going to bring up my reference here and make my reference a little bit larger. Blender is another good alternative for sculpting. That is true. Blender is also fantastic for sculpting. If that's more accessible, it is fantastic. All right, and it's free versus ZBrush, which is expensive. All right, so I'm just going to bring in my stylus here, and one of my favorite brushes is the clay buildup brush, and we can just go ahead and build up some clay around parts of the model. What I'm doing is keeping a close eye on maintaining the same polygons. The reason why I want to maintain the same number of polygons is so that we don't have to redo the UV coordinates, and that things will just translate really nicely onto the model. If we take away that feature, if we add polygons to this model, it will be a lot heavier, and we would have to redo the UV coordinates because it would change the Santa layout. But yeah, I guess everything we're doing right now, you could technically just do this inside of Blender. So you don't really need to be doing this in ZBrush. But I'll show you what I do plan on doing. Oh, back of the head. Did not catch that. Let me grab the move tool then. Looks like it fused all the geometry together a little bit, which is not what I wanted. Well, I guess the main thing I was going to do was I was going to make a second high resolution model of this on top of it, and then use that as a projection. But maybe we don't even need to do that. Maybe let's go back to Cinema 4D. What was I doing? Maybe we can get away with just sculpting that extra detail into here, because we may not need to make it more complicated if it doesn't need to be. So I'm going to take the waistline right here, for example, go to the soft selection, enable it, and then we can just softly enlarge the areas around the waist so that we get the folding of fabric a bit over the body. And then we'll do the same thing here. Yeah, it might just be a little bit faster to do this in here for me today. I didn't catch this error last time, so I'm just going to move these polygons back a little bit so that the skull doesn't really go through the the hoodie. And then we will need to smooth that out anyway though. So keeping in mind, at this point, we want to avoid adding any more complexity to the model. So I'm not actually adding any resolution, I'm just reshaping the existing polygons. This way we can preserve our UV coordinates, not have to do them again, but we get all that new ability to shape things and sculpt things and make it more like a jumpsuit. Oh, the legs do it too. It looks like they puff out a bit on the ankles. So let's do that as well. So you see what I'm doing is I'm just kind of adding a little bit more breakups that are asymmetrical into the geometry so that it feels a bit more like cloth. Not a lot more. I mean, it's just we're not adding any more resolution. We're not subdividing at this point. This part is mostly just so that when we add all the details, which we'll be doing next, we'll have just some asymmetry onto there, so it just feels more like cloth would be. Okay, so I just kind of add a little bit more subdivisions and stuff to the model. Sorry, what am I talking about? We did not add subdivisions. We just added a little bit more bumpiness to it. So if we turn off our display grids, we go to object mode, you'll see that we have a little bit more of a jumpsuit kind of vibe. It's going to look a little bit skinny, but I think it should resize to anybody's body type. What software are you using? Today we're using Cinema 4D, Substance Painter, and Lens Studio. Those will be the ones that we're using today. Okay, so I think we are pretty squared off with that. I'm going to go ahead and save this project. And last thing we want to do is apply a different material ID to each section that needs to have its own material. So, what do I mean by that? Well, excuse me, I just remembered something. We can have different parts of the model share the same UV islands if they all have the same color ID. So if I grab the head, hands, and feet, and body, I should maybe align these a little bit better. So let me grab the head, these three. I'm just going to grab all this geometry, and with that selected, grab the UV mover, and I'm going to move these so that they fit in that space on the tile, so that this actually will fit really nicely onto the same texture tile that the body lives on. So see how the body's on there, and then we'll have space now for the other parts. The three, all of them should have space now to be on the same UV tile. This also gives us the flexibility to add more resolution in the hands, since now we don't need the hands to be that small. We can actually add resolution to the hands. So I'm going to move the face here because we don't really need resolution here. I'm just going to use that as an occluder, but we can give our hands a lot more resolution by increasing the amount of space they take up on the UV tile. That way it can get some good glove texture into there. If the tile is too small, you'll have a low resolution part of your anything. And I might just orient them up and down so it's just a little bit easier for me to paint in general. And then maybe we can take the two and enlarge them even more. There we go. So now we get a lot of resolution space to paint the hands, and that's great. Okay. Then maybe we should do that for the feet. No, we don't need it. Just gonna paint the feet black. What about the pocket? The pocket I'm just gonna do as a texture. Good question. But yeah, it's flat enough that I don't think I need to add that as resolution geometry. I'll just add that as a height map as a texture. And also all the wrinkles and folds, these will be normal maps that we're going to be baking onto the model. Okay, cool. I think all that's squared away. And then the face mask is good and the belt is good. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if I need the face mask to have that much resolution, but I don't know, keep it. People look at people's faces a lot, so maybe we'll add a lot of resolution there. Cool, cool, cool. That's the belt. Maybe we can combine the belt with the rest of these just to keep the file size a little bit smaller. I'm a little worried of having too many texture tiles in there. So I'm going to grab all the belt stuff and shrink it down and fit it right about here, where I think I saw it would fit pretty nicely with the other ones. Just going to grab the belt here, maybe slide it that way, grab the body, maybe just resize this belt geometry a little bit, give it a little rotation, might fit a bit better, maximize that space, the UV tile. Alright, so now we're going to basically have all of this part will be on one texture tile, which is great for memory, and the face mask will be its own texture tile. And the way we guarantee that this will work is we just apply the same material ID to each of those sections. So I'm going to open up our material preset panel, and I'm going to call this one face. Ignore the colors. Oh, I guess that's not the face, that's the body. Let me delete all the colors for a second. Okay, so let's grab this one. It's going to be for my face mask. And then this one will be for the body, B-O-D-Y. Great, and we'll just change that tile and apply that to everything else. That's body, that's the body, and the hands are part of the body, and so is the face. Cool, so now we have two texture tiles, one for all of the body, and then one for, remember that they have leg pockets too. Oh, good observation. I did not catch that. Okay, if they have leg pockets, I will go ahead and add that as geometry because that is a definite shape that I want to hit. Okay, so let's go into our sculptor. All right, so leg pockets over here. Grab a little chunk over there. And notice how I'm not adding geometry. I'm only moving existing geometry because I don't want to redo the UV coordinates. The moment you add geometry is the moment that your UV coordinates have to change. So I'm not adding geometry. We're only going to move little bits of it. And I'm using a soft move selection, so that's how we're getting kind of like a gradual movement. Yeah, good eye. Good eye on that one. That looks pretty clean for the geometry. Looks like their faces are a little bit more rounded. I can just resize that, I think, in a different program. But I think this will work for the body and for the mask. I don't have to do color in here right now, but I just thought it'd be kind of fun just to start imagining it properly. Okay, cool. Let's bring this into, oh wait, what's this? I see a little glitch happening there in the body. Don't know what is that. What geometry is that? I don't know what geometry that is, but we're going to fix that right now. Okay, cool, I'm gonna save it. And now it's gonna be the fun part, substance painting. Let's get to it. All right, so we're gonna grab this object now. I'm gonna go to File. Oh, should we rig it right now first? We might want to rig this character. Oof, where's the best spot to do that? I'm trying to think. Actually, we can technically rig it after this. So I want to get to painting because that's really fun for me. Yes, Michael Rosa says Cinema 4D now looks alike Blender. It does. They totally copied Blender in terms of layout, which I'm happy they did. Because now I feel like I'm in Blender without having to be in Blender. So we'll go to File, Export. I'm going to export this as a FBX file. And I'm going to call this one Paint. Paint_me. We want to paint this one. So in the paint me, that's great. And then let's close the ZBrush that's running in the background. We're not going to use that anymore. And then we will go ahead and open up Adobe Substance 3D Painter. Check your DMs, I sent you a reference image. Don, the mask has a line down the middle like a T. Yes, I'm going to do that one as a texture because it's hidden well enough that that can be a normal map. That's what I mean, the line between texturing and modeling is super blurry now because of how powerful both set of tools have become. And they can kind of copy each other in some ways. So whenever I can, I try to reduce the complexity of a model when I'm designing for AR, and choosing certain areas to be normal maps is better than going around adding geometry, making more complicated UVs, more complicated rigging. So here's the Paint Me folder. I'm gonna go ahead and open this. There's our guy. Let's take a look if all of our textures came in properly. Cool, so we have all of the body, hands, glove, and head and belt, and then we have the face. Perfect. Oh yeah, thank you for catching. All right, so let's get right into my favorite part. Step one is baking your mesh maps. This allows a lot of procedural tools to work a lot more smoothly. So we go to Edit, Bake Mesh Maps. I'm gonna bake a 2K resolution map into the whole thing, and I'm going to use the low poly mesh as a high poly mesh, so using it as itself, and we're just going to bake right onto it. This gives you things like ambient occlusion and thickness and face position and curvature. All this kind of parameters helps you get more realistic textures, and it just bakes that onto your model, which is really helpful. Next, we're going to do this jumpsuit. So it kind of looks like plastic to me. So there's actually a white plastic that I think has about the right, I don't see it, where's the white plastic? There it is, plastic dirt, and there's plastic dusty. I think this one will be a good base to start off with. So here's plastic dusty. Just kind of add some dust and a plasticky kind of material. I'm gonna go to that base color and just grab the base color right off of the model itself. Great. Next, I'm going to go to the dirt color and play with that as well as maybe a darker shade of the reds in here, looking at those shadows. There we go. And I like how this plastic material scatters light really well, so that's kind of the reason why I wanted to start off with that as the base. Next, I found a really cool hack for creating folds in fabric. There's a material preset that came with Substance Painter known as Fabric. And they have this one called Fabric Canvas Creased. If you apply this onto your model, we can get rid of the fabric pattern but keep the creased pattern. So I'm going to get rid of the pattern, fabric, pattern, oh my god, fabric pattern, jeez, my brain just stopped working for a second. Fabric pattern. And then we're going to go to the folds, and it's this one layer, and we can play with the hardness of the folds. So I'm going to go to increase the hardness of those foldings, and then with the folds, it might be easier to see this under a normal map, so, or maybe it's under a height map actually. Okay, there we go. So now with the height map, we'll be able to see where the folds are going really clearly. So I'm going to grab our folds, go to the hardness of the folds, and I want to scale them up or scale them down to create more or less folding. We can rotate the folds any direction we want. And for the 3D projection settings, we can project more on the x-axis or the y-axis. We can rotate them. So I'm just trying to create all the folds. Oh, Juice Big Fellow says, dude, you're Super Saiyan. Whoa, thanks. I'm a fan of Dragon Ball Z. Oh, whoa, so I think we added too many folds. So now it's looking a little too bumpy. So I'm gonna go to my folds amount and play with the scale. Just by scaling up the folding, we will already fix a lot of the problems. And then this is using a triplanar projection, so we can move it on the X, Y, and Z axis to project our folding more or less on those different axes. And just to make it feel even more at home, we're gonna change the background to match something more similar to what the show was in, which is like those all white rooms at some points are really scary, intense. So let's go to make that room. There's the one. Studio 9 is gonna be pretty creepy. Oh, actually, where's the white room? There you go. That's pretty close. Maybe I'll do Studio 7. Yeah, that's kind of cool. There's also Studio 15 lighting environment, which kind of looks like the show a bit more. Oh yeah, that feels about right. Cool. Looking at it in this lighting, I'm now realizing that my red color is not saturated enough. So I'm gonna boost the saturation by going to my red base and then just pushing it up more towards the upper right, which of the color wheel, which makes it more saturated. Yeah. And we get a nice little fabric in there now. A lot of hyper details in the bumps. It's important. All right, great. Now let's work on the next bit. The belt and the gloves. So I'm just thinking they have a material in here called leather, and it looks like this. It's called artificial leather. Can't speak today. Artificial leather. I'm going to apply the artificial leather to the whole body, and then to isolate it to those regions, we add what's called a black mask. And with the black mask enabled, we can just go right onto our UV tile and grab our selection and just draw right over the parts that we want to turn into black paint. And because we spent some time to do clean UVs, we're getting a really easy time painting in all those polygons. And that's how we're getting the black gloves right there really easily, really cheaply. Same idea with the feet. I'm just gonna go to the 2D view and just kind of smack these onto there. And we're just rotating around our canvas. I'm going to turn on mirroring so that whatever happens to one side, will happen to the other. There we go. So we got some black leather shoes. Great. Let's go to our belt geometry, which I think is all of this stuff. I'm just going to add some belt stuff. We can also use the fill mesh option to just double click into an isolated area, and then it will just auto-fill that whole region of the polygons. I believe it's a bit more hot pink. I don't know if my message got sent. My Wi-Fi is weird. Oh, more hot pink. We can do that. Hot pink it is. Let's go to our base and let's add a little bit more magenta. And that will get us closer to that hot pink energy. And then for the dirt color, I kind of was going for a dried blood look, but I'm gonna go ahead and make it a little bit more saturated, make it a little bit more in the pink range. Just to add a little bit of two-tone color to the suit. Okay, cool. So we got that suit there. I mean, it's still looking, mine's looking a little too purpley now, to be honest. I want to make it a little bit more red. So let's just add a little bit more red to the mix here. And right about there, let's just add a little hint of purple. Cool. All right, belt buckle time. For the belt buckle, we're going to use the same artificial leather material we did before. I'm just clicking on it to add the black bits to that topology. Great. And now the shoes are done. Great. Awesome. Now, next step, mask. One of my favorite parts and holding off on. So the mask is really cool. Oh, we got a question from Imaginary Lobo saying, oh, we got a question from Brandon Gross says, ooh, model out here looking good. We're getting somewhere. Brandon says, dig watching from start to end. Wow, thank you, Brandon, for being here from start to end. I really appreciate it. Yeah, the stuff always changes in quality. You know, when you start seeing lighting and stuff, it totally changes the way we feel about the models and how it's coming out. So thanks for the support and for being here and supporting me with the comments. I really appreciate it. Oh, Blasa, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that on YouTube. Imagine Lobo says, look at the Squid Game logo. Oh, that's a good point. You're right. The Squid Game logo is definitely more magenta. I see what you mean. Yeah, it's like a hot pink. Yeah, you're right. So I guess if you want, we can push it more towards hot pink. So I'm just going to grab that color. There's that one. I literally just pulled it from their own style sheet. And then I'm going to look for a shadow on their skin and make that the secondary color. So I'm just going to pull a shadow from somewhere. Let's go right about there. Okay, so that's probably more aligned. It's like that purplish, pinkish, super disturbing color situation. Oh yeah, you got it. I'll keep it up forever. All right, so I want to do the mask though. That's like my favorite part, is these really interesting and simultaneously very simple mask designs. So first off, we got lots of stuff going on in them. First thing I'm noticing is we need to create that black material, which looks like a plastic with maybe like a metal finish. So I'm going to start off with a PVC plastic pipe thing. They have plastic gloss. They have this one, plastic gloss scuffed. They have plastic dirty. They have dirty plastic scratched. I think I'm going to start off with this one. So I'm going to throw this on the face. Already we get somewhere. Next, we're going to make the base of it more black. So I'm going to go to that base plastic color and make it a black color. All right, great. Then we're going to reduce the scratched edges because they don't really have scratched edges now that I'm looking at it. So I'm going to go to my mask editor and then just reduce the amount of scratching that's happening on the edges of things. But I'm still going to keep a little bit of it because I do want it to look like it's been around for a while. Great. Next, it's actually a little bit shinier than this one. So I'm going to go to our plastic roughness and make it a little bit smoother so we get a little bit more shine happening on the mask. Yeah, that feels about right. Now I want to show you how to make all those little holes very quickly. Way quicker than you might think. So I'm going to fill it with a color. Fill the whole thing with a color. And just to show you, I'm going to fill it with red. Just so it's easier for us to see. Then I'm going to add a black mask, and we're going to add a couple of black masks. The first one is going to be a fill mask. So I go into here, right click, and choose add fill. And the fill that we're going to fill it with is this thing called dots. Oh, I don't see it there. It's not dots. It's in this procedural tiling material library somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. I think I saw it for a split second. There it is. Nope. Tile generator. This one, it's either hexagons or it's metallic gray rounded dots, little dots. I think this is probably more aligned. So I'm going to grab this as the fill pattern. And then right away we get all these cool red polka dots on our mask. And then this is a highly procedural material, so we can tile it. And very quickly, just like that, we now have all these red dots on the face. I can change the position of these dots so that they're larger. We can scale the dots up individually so it's more graded. And now we have, we have a squid emoji. Oh, nice. And so now you see where all the spots are red dots. Well, it turns out in Substance Painter, you can paint with color or you can paint with height. So I'm going to turn off the color parameter and then turn down the height. And now we have actual holes that have been carved into the mask, just like that. Boom. It looks like the mask holes are even smaller than this though, so I'm going to go back to our procedural thing and then play with the position of the holes and increase the tiling a bit and maybe play with the scale. And we can also do our subscaling by multiplying it here as well. There we go. So now we have like little graded holes everywhere. Then we're going to turn down the gradation by adding a black mask. And I only want it to be on the top and the bottom. So we can just, oops, messed up something. Oh wait, to group it. And then I'll add a black mask to the group. And now wherever we paint, it's going to have it. So I only want it to be on the top and bottom of the face, but not on the band in the middle. So I'm just going to fill up those UV coordinates that we made in Cinema 4D. And now we have the right topology all over it. Oh, it looks like it accidentally painted the bottom half though. We don't want to do that. I just wanted to paint all of that and all of that, but nothing else. Weird. It's not letting me isolate it. Oh, let me try it again. Oh, there we go. Great. And then let's turn off our displays. All right, so now we've got this nice little graded mask. Let's make it even more accurate. So it looks like theirs is kind of, maybe it looks like it's even smaller in the bumps, to be honest. So I'm going to go to our mask editor and continue to scale it down even further. There we go. That feels like the right amount of holes. And then we can also go to things like our height. I might decrease it even more, so these are even deeper holes. And we can go to roughness, so we can make it darker inside by having it more reflective in there. Smaller holes, you got it. Next, I'm going to add another mask on top of this mask. I'm going to group it all and then add a white mask. Is that it? And on the white mask, I'm just going to erase the holes from the center of the face here, because I'm going to show you a technique for creating extra geometry in there. So just by creating a nice line, actually what am I doing? We can do that right onto this thing itself. All right, so I just start off by adding some smoothness onto the middle of the mask there. And then to create the grooves, we just add another paint layer on top of this. And I'm gonna do the same thing as before. We're gonna paint height. So I'm gonna turn off all the other parameters, increase the height, add a black mask, and now wherever we paint is gonna have height added to it. So we can use this to make the two sides of the lip that kind of separate the region. So I'm going to go up here, click and hold shift. Looks like it's kind of breaking a little bit to do that in there, so I might just do it here instead. Okay, so we just kind of added those bumps. got a question from, okay, there we go. And then I'm just gonna add some more bumps to things that I think could benefit from it. Maybe going around the edges of the mask, for example, could benefit from having some bumps. Might be easier just to do that inside of the UV tile itself. So let's turn on soft follow. Great, and then we'll go to our white mask and paint that out. All right, now the most important part, we're gonna do the symbol on the face. I probably will make it so that you can tap to change the symbol, but for now I'm just gonna do, I'll make all three, but I'm only gonna probably export one for now. So for this part, we're gonna make a new material, like a white, really white, highly reflective coated surface, slightly metallic, or no, not even metallic. Then we're gonna add a black mask. And now we can just kind of connect the dots here. Should we do the circle, triangle, or square? All right. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. I might make it a little bit thicker. And yeah. Let's try it in a different environment for lighting purposes. Cool, pocket time. For the pockets, we'll go to the body again, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of height on a separate layer. And then with the height added, I'm gonna turn off color, roughness, turn off everything except for height, and add a black mask. And then we can now paint in the height of the shirt, of the pockets. So I'm just gonna go in there and add some height. We'll turn off symmetry, and I'm just gonna create a little pocket square. And make another one in there. And then we'll erase a little bit from the pocket square here. And then we'll have that going. Thanks, love. add some height into there as well. Awesome. All right, let's add some more. I'm gonna add some metal now. We're gonna add a kind of shiny, glossy, metallic material and make it kind of black. And we're gonna add a black mask on it. This is gonna be for the black zipper that kind of goes down the middle. And with this material, we'll also add a little bit of height as well. And then they actually have a zipper material. Oops. Cool. Now we have a zipper added. Thanks for. Oh yeah, you got it. I'll keep it going. I'll make the zipper less silvery, and if we can, maybe just get a bit more of the. Yeah, I'll just take off color. Oh, I have to paint color on at the same time. Whoops. Okay, let's make a new layer for the zipper. And let's maybe keep color on. There we go. So now we can have like a black zipper. Maybe I'll make it a little bit lighter so we can see it a tiny bit. Still kind of hard to see. Let's maybe push it up a little even lighter. That feels about right. So let's do that. Alright, so I think we're about good here on the lighting. Let me just save my project here. Call this one Squid_Game. Save it. And then we'll go to our display settings. I'm going to turn on shadows to make it creepier. That looks good. Let's see. I guess we can add maybe a few more wrinkles. I don't know what the backs look like. Okay, so I would say we're pretty much done with the painting process. I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. Yeah, this works for me. All right, so we have this all set up. So we got our paint in there. We have our geometry painted. Now it's time to get this wearable. So we'll go ahead and save this. I'm going to export these textures, and I'm going to optimize their export for Lens Studio. Yep. And then we're going to export body and face. I'm just going to choose a different home for these files. So we're in Squid Game. I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call this Materials. Awesome, and we'll hit Export. Great, so we just exported these 6 textures. These are our maps. We have the color, we have our reflection, roughness, and opacity. We have our normal maps, and we have our face mask texture, our face mask reflectivity, and our face mask bumps. So with all of this, we have enough to make the full Squid Game wearable texture in AR. Again, those are our islands of the UV coordinates from that reference earlier. So let's jump into the next bit, which is inside of Lens Studio. Oh, no, take it back. We have to bring this back into Cinema 4D to get it rigged. If you're trying to find a faster way to rig, actually, let's just do this. Let's just rig it right here. Now, let's rig it live. I'll show you the fastest, simplest way. There's a website called Mixamo, and we can log in. And I might need to verify it on this other screen here. Waiting. Oh, let me see if there's another way I can sign in. I'll just do a text code. It's taking me a second. I think it's gonna break every time I do this, it breaks my live stream. Use another method to receive the code. Maybe I'll just do an email. That might be easier for me to check. Thank you, sir. Please teach me more. Please, please. You got it. That's what we're doing right now. I'm just signing into my account so I can get onto here and show you the next steps. So give me 1 second. Okay, so this is Mixamo, and what we can do is upload our character into here. So I'm going to go to Upload Character and select our character file. And in this case, we're going to go to our Squid Game character. We're going to choose the paintme.fbx. Hit OK. This one doesn't have any materials, but all we need to get out of this is the rig. This is the fastest, cheapest way to get the full body rig. And I'm going to hit Next. All we have to do is identify the landmarks of the character. So where are the chins? That's our chin. Where are the wrists? These are our wrists. Where are the elbows? Where are the knees? Oops. Where are the knees? And then where's the groin? And with these landmarks, with these few landmarks, we can have the auto rigging take place. So this is going to rotate your model around, and it's going to be placing bones inside of it, including bones in the fingers, bones in the arms, and in the legs, in the neck. And these bones are essential for the process of wearable fashion that you don't just want to fit perfectly to your body, but you want to add like extra flair and stuff. So I'm just going to let it keep spinning around, doing our automatic rigging. And once it's done rigging, look at that. We now have a fully rigged character that we have brought to life. How freaking cool is that? We hit next here, and I click next. All I really want out of it is a T-pose. So I'm just going to grab the T-pose object and grab that T-pose because it's a fully rigged T-pose, and that's all we really need. So I'm going to go ahead and hit download. Now I'm downloading that T-posed character. All right. So now we should have everything we need to bring this together in Lens Studio. So we have all of our textures that we painted in Substance Painter. We have our geometry all made inside of Cinema 4D. Right, that's where we did our geometry. Then we got the rigging done inside of Mixamo. It's pretty sweet. Last step is we combine all this together inside of Lens Studio. So let's open up Lens Studio now, jump into that part of the tutorial. I'm going to open up Lens Studio over here. Just giving it a couple seconds to load. Maybe I didn't press it. Let me try it again. Huh. Normally it loads right away because it's pretty light. Oh, here I can error sound. What was that? Other instances of Lens Studio are already running. Okay, let me try it again. Okay, so here's Lens Studio. What we're going to do is start off with the body mesh. Or, even easier, we can start off from nothing. Let's just do a new project. So we're starting off from a brand new project here. And I want to show you the steps. So step one is get your rigged body into here. So we just downloaded that T-pose. I'm just going to drag it. Actually, no, wait. Before we even do that, step number one is to click on this plus sign in the objects and add a new full body tracking object. This creates a little skeleton that you'll see in your scene. Next, I'm going to switch my preview to a person that's moving. I'm going to go down to maybe the body tracking template. All right, so now we have a body tracker and we have a reference video for us to see the movement of a character. Next, we can bring in our geometry, our rigged T-pose. So I'm going to grab my T-pose FBX file and drag it as a child of the 3D body tracker here. And we hit import. Give it a couple seconds to load, and now your character is tracking to the hip movement of the footage, of the live action footage. Next step is to get it to fit the body perfectly. So we go to our 3D body tracker, and then we click on Match Hierarchy, and click on the T-pose that we want, and hit OK. Now, for some reason, it's not working right now. Normally, that would be it. So we might have some other bigger problems to resolve. Let me try it again, maybe. Grab this object, do Match Hierarchy, grab my T-pose, mix no hips, hit OK. Okay, this might be a lot harder to solve than I thought, because normally that would just work. Huh. Okay. All right, that just made this a lot more complicated. Sorry about that. Normally this is like drag and drop, but I guess now we're gonna have to maybe do some debugging. Okay. T-pose. All right, so this is the right T-pose. It is in the right spot, and it is tracking. Not sure why it's not listening to the body parts though. I'm wondering if we have to manually go through all this. Many thanks for sharing your knowledge. I really appreciate it. I'll finish the video in the morning. Already late here, and it's in middle Europe, so good luck. Oh, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I'll definitely get this solved, and I'm always happy to share knowledge. But thanks for being here with us on YouTube. Yeah, I kind of hit a little bit of a wall here, but normally we should be able to just hit track or match hierarchy, and it would grab all the bones with names and automatically rig the right thing. And these look correct, but I'll keep at it. Spine, yeah, spine 1, 2, neck, head, shoulder, arm, all of this looks good. I might be seeing this might be a bug, because this all looks totally accurate to me. Dang, we hit a wall, friends. We hit a major wall in this process. Oh, whoa. Okay, it looks like we're breaking it for every bone that we are removing. Let me try this again. I don't know what's going on. It's like the arms are not listening to any of the arms. Okay, I have another solution that I was trying to avoid. So let's delete this one. The other option is to go to the plus button, click on mesh, and choose full body mesh. This is if you don't want to rig anything. This comes with auto rigging, and I think you just give it an external mesh that's in a T-pose, and it sometimes just works with this. But I was trying to avoid this one because it comes with other problems, but I don't see another way right now. So I'm going to grab the body. Okay, actually looks like it's working. So this is without rigging, and now we have a body mesh that tracks to the character. We can do this maximum distance to change the fit of your geometry. If you play with the slider too much though, it will crash the program because it's like recalculating geometry like in a lot of depth. But it looks like it's working. Okay, so we'll just go with it. Then we're going to go to our full body mesh object and take a look at our texture. Where is our full body mesh? T-pose, materials. Well, that's the mesh. How do I get the body mesh template? So if I click that off, then we have no texture. Cool. So now I'm going to choose materials, and I want to bring in the textures that we painted inside of Substance Painter. So we're going to go into it, add a plus button. We're going to add a new simple physically based rendered material, and we'll hit OK. So now we're getting some reflections onto that material. First thing I want to do is turn on two-sided so that we don't see through it. We'll have to do a lot of optimization, but for right now, we're just doing that there. Cool. Next step we're going to want to do is replace this with our textures. So I'm going to go to my base texture, hit the plus button, hit from files, and then we're going to jump into our Squid Game materials, grab our materials, I'm going to grab our base color, and then we'll hit OK. So now we have our materials, we have our texture of the Squid Game on here. Next, we want to get all the other parameters. So I'm going to grab the normal maps. This will give our model bumps. We want it to have all the bumps that we painted also from Substance Painter. So we're going to grab our normal bumps and hit open. Awesome. We got our bump map. Next, we have our metallic. I'm going to reduce that because it should be kind of matted. It's looking a little too pink, to be honest, so we might want to reduce that as well. We also have some high precision stuff. Let me turn on simple reflections, and we'll try to load in a reflection material. So I'm going to grab this reflection material and hit OK. Ooh, that did not come out right. modulation map. Maybe it's a modulation. And then we can turn off simple reflections. Cool, so now we get our material closer there. So now it will fit your body type and it will attach to you properly, which is great. The next step we want to do to match this is bring in our mask. We did paint a mask, we spent time on it, so we want to bring that mask in and have it be a part of our situation. So to get the mask to work nicely, I'm going to click on the plus button and add a new face tracker. So we'll go to face tracker, or actually it's called head binding. So we'll go to 3D object tracking and we'll go to head binding. I don't see head binding. Maybe it's under face effects. What? Mesh? We might have better luck if I just search for it. I think it's called bind. Oh, it's called head binding. Okay, not face binding. So we added a new head binder. So it puts this little face mesh down here. Oh, what's up, Looking Glass Factory? Thanks for being here. And Ray Wong, thanks for being here. Have you finished Squid Game? Yes, I just finished it. It's so good. I'm not spoiling anything in this live stream for those that are still watching it. I just wanted to make a filter so that people have something relevant to use and talk about it in this film and TV cultural movement. So yeah, I'm going to continue working on it. Right now I'm about to put the face mask on. So under the head binding, we're going to drag our full body mesh from earlier, grab our face mask, and I'm going to make it a child of our head bind. By grabbing the prefabrication, go to head bind and just drag it right underneath there. Now that's probably too much data, so we're going to need to move stuff around. So I'm going to move the face right where it needs to be. Right where it needs to be bound to. Okay, the face is in the right spot. And now we're going to hide everything that's not the face. So the head, body, hands, belt, all that stuff. Let's get rid of all that stuff for now. We're looking at just the face mask here. And now we need to give our face mask a material. So I'm going to click on the face material. Go to our face mask, choose a material, click on a new simple physically based rendered material. So now we can see a face mask inside there. And then we're going to go to our face material and apply our textures. So I'm going to grab our face mask image. There we go. There we go. So now we have our face mask in there. Next we're going to add our normal map. The normal map is where all the bumps are going to come from. We want a bumpy graded mask. So I'm going to grab my normal maps and hit OK. Awesome. So now we have a face mask in there as well as the geometry. I'm going to go ahead and try on the filter myself if I can. Oh no, I can't because I'm streaming live to YouTube. I'm already using the camera. I might need to grab a battery real quick because it looks like my battery is super low right now. But for the most part, this is going to work. Let's find a dancing person to see how it fits. So it kind of works. I'm seeing some problems with the face mask kind of jumping off though at a few moments. So that's interesting. I wish I could try it on my own face. So maybe I'm gonna disable my webcam for right now so that I can test out this next feature. So I'm gonna grab my video capture device and turn it off if I can. Don't know why I'm forgetting how to turn off the camera. There should be like an eyeball or something. Video capture device. Oh, that's the display. Where's the video capture device? Okay, there we go. So now the camera should be off there, and then I'll see if I can hijack the camera. Oh, it's not letting me hijack my camera. Let me try it. Oh, but then now I'll turn off the microphone. Okay, I probably won't be able to test it on my body then, because I'm currently using the camera. for the live stream on YouTube. This is kind of swaggy. Oh wow, thanks. So now I'm just testing it out on different bodies. All right, I think it's almost there. Let me add in the belt. I feel like we're missing that now. So I'm going to go to the body mesh, turn on the belt, and apply the belt to the body. And look for the body template, attachment points. Let's go ahead and attach the belt to the hips. There we go. So now the belt should align with the hips more smoothly. We might just need to adjust it a little bit here in the inspector. Window, panels, I think it's called our preview. No, it's our preview. Window, panels, what is it called? Material, let's just do default layout. So it comes back here. Okay. One of the games should have been a dance battle. That would be pretty sweet and pretty scary. It's a very scary show, but it was really good. Really good show. Just very suspenseful. All right, so what I'm trying to do right now is get the belt to fit better on the body. Having some troubles with that. So I have the belt right here. Let me click match hierarchy, match the body mesh. I don't know how to get this belt onto the character here. It's not letting me move the belt. I can turn it off and on, but I can't move it. And also the face mask is way too far forward. So I gotta think about this. Let me go to our face mask here. Push the face mask. Oh wow, I can't move the face mask. Oh no. So now it's on the proper head shape, but now we can't see it because of the hood. Oh, is it because of a face occluder? No. Having some troubles. Hey Jay, welcome. Today we're working on, we're in the live stream right now, showing you how to make this character from start to finish. But I'm running into some little bugs, which happen from time to time. I'm gonna push an update to Snap on my other device here, and then I can see if I can just try it on without ending the live stream. Oh, but I gotta log into it. What's my password? What's the point of Face ID if it forgets about it every time? Every time I use it, it's forgetting about it. It's very frustrating. We cannot find a match with that username. Okay, cool. I'm on Snapchat now, so I'm just going to push an update so I can try it on myself. Okay, so it looks like I'm able to now test it here. It's going to be a little bit of a weird setup. Alright, so it looks like the face mask is kind of working. It's going to be very hard for me to set this up. I can't show you what I'm seeing. I'll just flip the screen for a moment. So what I'm seeing on my end is I'm able to wear the filter right now, and it's a full body filter. I'm just testing how good the tracking is and if I need to adjust some things. Okay, so I see the hood. The hood doesn't bend backwards, which is the problem. It bends with the head, but when I bend my head backwards, it doesn't bend it. So that might be causing some problems. The body tracking is good though, so let me just move the face mask forward a bit. I'm gonna grab the face mask. I wish I could show you what I have on Snap right now, but I can't because the camera's set up. Unless, no, that won't work. I was gonna do a mirroring tool, mirror what's on my iPad. That actually might work. Let me think about that for a second. Let me go to my face occluder, face mask, and then I should try to move this forward. Oh, it's not letting me do it. Let me move the prefab forward, and I'll move it, yeah, just forward should be fine. All right, I'm gonna push this back to Snap and try on this updated version. Okay, so you know what? There actually is a way for me to mirror this onto the, I can mirror this onto my desktop right now. I use this tool called AP Power, and I think if I use it properly, I might be able to just mirror my iPad onto the screen while we're here, which would be really sweet, because then I could show you what I'm seeing on my end. So let me do a mirror tool, screen mirroring, AP Power, and it should be mirroring my iPad on here now. Oh, yay, it's working. Yeah, cool. Cool. All right, so now you can see what I'm seeing on Snapchat. Okay, so now, wow, it's a very complicated setup over here. I'm gonna move this device, running an iPad that is running my Snap filter on here. All right, I mean, it's tracking really well, which is good. And then the face is close. I might need to move the face mask forward a little bit. So I'm gonna grab my prefab and slide this forward and move it up a little bit. And then let's send an update to Snapchat. Oh, this is super meta because I'm on a green screen in my room here, and then I'm running it on Snap. All right, this is really close. Really, really close. I think we can probably get away with pushing it a lot more forward. Cool, I'll move it a little bit closer forward. Bum, 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 bum. And I'll probably move it down a little bit here. Let's push that update. Perfect. All right, so now we're almost done. The mask fits pretty nicely. I can wear it. And we got the full bodysuit. Only thing that we're missing is the belt. I need to find a way to get the belt back on here. Oh, and the gloves. I don't have my gloves on. Let's see if we can get gloves on here. Excuse me. Oh, I see the heads are connected to the face binding. So how do I get it? How do I get it to the point where we can see everything that we need to here? Think about this real quick. I mean, it might just be easier for me to show fingers and hands. Or maybe we can add the hand tracking. Maybe we can add finger tracking to this. I don't know how hard that is. Let's see, hit plus sign, go to object tracking, let's do hand tracking. Cool, we can track hands now. But I don't have a prop to track. I don't have a rig for hands, so that won't work. All right, let's get rid of 3D hand tracking. Ooh, let's see. Yeah, the tracking is really good. I guess what I might do is just an AI body removal. Oh, but now we'll remove the hands, and we want the hands. The feet came out fine. Dang, I'm kind of wishing that when we modeled this, I should have just combined the belt with the other stuff. I'm just testing the if it adjusts to body sizes. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, it looks like it's fitting pretty nicely. I think this is kind of close enough. I mean, if we wanted to fix anything, I might just paint a belt onto here. Right now, it's just kind of like a dark shadow in there. Okay. If the hands go in front of you, this hand tracking model, I don't have 3D hand tracking on, so hands can't really go in front of you. Hands can only kind of be out here on the side. But the arms will go in front, no problem, which is great. Tracking stays on pretty well, even as I'm moving pretty fast. It does okay with stuff like this. It kind of loses that arm when it goes behind me a little bit, but that's okay. Cool. I mean, I think I might just publish this one as it is. It's simple. It's a lightweight one. Yeah. This model gets a little confused if legs cross in front of each other. It doesn't know which leg is which. But for my purposes, this works. Cool. Squid Game, AR filter, done. Easy peasy. So let's go ahead and publish this thing and get it out there in the world. Get it seen. Cool. All right, that's all. Thank you so much for tuning in to Creativity with Don Allen III Live. Hopefully you learned a bunch of cool stuff that you can take away in terms of making some, digital fashion, wearable AR filters and costumes, especially because Halloween is this month. So start making some cool Halloween costumes that you can work as AR filters. I think that can be a pretty good application for it in the immediate. And I'm just going to go ahead and publish this, get this out to the world, and yeah, we'll have some fun. But cool, thank you all so much for tuning in. That's going to be a wrap on it. We just finished making this whole thing from start to finish. If you're watching this live on Instagram after the fact, I want to encourage you to watch the whole thing on YouTube. That's where I'm going to be putting all the links to some of the tools that we used in here. In particular, all the links to like the Pure Reference thing, the Lens Studio base body mesh template. You'll find all those resources in the description of this here video on YouTube. So that's where you can find all the resources. I'm trying to get more people to use my YouTube for valuable content, since it's easier for people to see and learn from. So I'm going to be putting the most valuable links and resources in the description only on YouTube. If If someone asks for a link to it on Instagram, I'll just give them a link to the YouTube video because it will hold all that data in one spot. But cool, that's it. Thanks for watching. Just having some fun here. Missed the live, but we'll go to your YouTube. Yay, thank you so much. That's my goals. I'll see you over on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in and learning with me, and I'll see you over there. I'm gonna go ahead and end the live stream on YouTube now. So again, thank you, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, bye-bye.